Hey guys, so today I just kind of wanted to talk about a couple of different things. I just this last weekend has been a really hard weekend. Some personal things have been going on, and there's been a lot of chaos and confusion within my family. A lot of sadness, I suppose, within my family, and disconnection and lack of communication. And so a lot of times what I like to do is when things are chaotic and they're frustrating and I don't understand them, I go to the things I do understand, to the things I know how to do. And I do know how to be kind, and I know how to be loving and supportive of other people. And so on my trip to Louisiana to see some of my family, um, I reached out to quite a few people trying to be kind and do random acts of kindness, and I was really surprised by their unwillingness to accept my acts of kindness. And I get I'm a little bold, and I do come out of nowhere sometimes, and that's a little different and sometimes hard to take, but I wasn't prepared for people to refuse my acts of kindness. The one act of kindness, just the one that I was able to get somebody to take, was a homeless man named Ralph, and he was in Dallas, Texas, on my way back home, and we were at a Whataburger, and he didn't even ask. I just, he just offered me a seat to talk to him, and me, I love to talk to people. I love to hear their stories, so I sat down and I asked him if he wanted something to eat with me. And he accepted, and we sat down and we talked about his life and his story and how come he's homeless and some of the struggles he's dealing with. And then today it kind of all weighed in on me. Like, I kind of broke. I'm taking this class from a nonprofit organization called Thrive, an amazing organization that offers what's called um, the Ice House entrepreneurial project, I suppose. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, but um, it just teaches you how to be an entrepreneur and how to reach for the goals that you never thought you could reach for, to dream as big as you wanted to dream and to make it succeed, and what key things you need to do to make sure that that happens. Most of it bases around a mindset. Um, a lot of it bases just kind of around what you're willing to do and what you're willing to push towards, and if you're willing to change the way that you look at things, and having have a different mindset after all of it's said and done, and be willing to change the world, I guess. Whether it's a business or whether it's a nonprofit or whether it's just an idea, But anyways, today I had that class, and they were just talking about all of the different kind of personalities that there are, and you know I'm not good with all that. I'm not good with adjusting myself to other people's personalities. I suppose I'm good at being me. I'm good at being kind. I'm good at being loving, but I'm not good at adapting myself to other people. And it's a necessary thing in this world to change the way you communicate when you're talking to somebody who communicates differently than you. And it was just a little bit overwhelming, and I think with everything that I've been going through with my family and all the chaos and confusion, I had stood really strong and really gracefully, but it just kind of broke and kind of fell apart. And I'm in my car, which is weeping from the exhaustion of it all. And my friend did something I never expected for her to do. She climbed in my car because I just came back from Louisiana, so there was stuff in my front seat. You know how it goes. You go driving and everything flies in your front seat. And she climbed over all of that, and she didn't care. And she didn't say very much. She just held me and hugged me, and she was okay in my heart. She was okay in my sadness. Like, she didn't really have anything to offer but to be right there with me. And it just spoke to me so deeply, because how kind is that? How how raw and just 100% truly kind is it to be willing to just sit with somebody in their hurt, not judge them, not offer any kind of advice, just to let them hurt, you know? And it just taught me something. And I went back to what makes me feel better. That was one thing she did say, you know, what makes you feel better when you're sad, and what makes you feel better when you're not getting it. And I said, now, you know, I don't know. That's what I said. And again, I fell back to being kind to others, to doing for others, because that makes me feel better. It makes me feel better to know that I can be kind in the midst of chaos. I can be gentle in the midst of harshness. That I can be everything that I'm not getting at that moment. So I went to, excuse me, I went to like a convenience store to run a movie, you know, just kind of curl up and be with the one I love the most, and just watch a movie. And so I go to this convenience store, and there's this man standing by this, you know, movie rental box, and he smelled like urine, and he was completely belligerently drunk. I mean, it was bad. He was homeless. He just, I don't even think he knew where he was. But I stopped, and, you know, my whole objective was to get this movie, but he asked me for milk. He said, do you have milk? And I said, I can get you milk. And I told him my name, and he told me his. His name was Mike. And so I said, Mike, is there anything else I can get you? Is there anything else that you need? And he said, a hot dog would be great. And, you know, he's just so beyond drunk and so beyond coherent, and he just reeks of urine, and you can tell that he hasn't been clean in ages, and that he just doesn't care anymore. He's okay with being where he's at. And so I went inside. Excuse me, I'm so sorry, but like, I'm just a real kind of person, so the tears and the tissue are necessary. But I went inside, and I just bought him what he needed and came back outside, and then I bought him an extra little donut or whatever. And we spoke for a little bit longer, and, you know, I left. You know, I prayed over him. I asked him if I could pray for him, and he said, yeah, that's fine. And I left, and when I left, you know, I watched him kind of dig through the food. And I just thought about how many of us are out there who don't even realize that we're worth anything. We just believe that we're not worth anything, that we don't matter, that this world is just this world, and we're just in it, and there's nothing we can do to change that. And it's so not true. It's such an untrue statement, you know. It's the whole point of this 1313, you know. It's not to spread the gospel. It's not to spread, you know, God all over the planet. It's not to, you know, push an agenda, but it is just to spread random acts of kindness. And through spreading those random acts of kindness, teaching others their own worth. Like, you know, you don't know your worth until you give it away, I guess, in a sense. Like, you have to give yourself away to know how much you're worth. And so when I was leaving, and, you know, I was like, how much what a lack of worth you'd have to sit in the state where Mike stood, or where he stood. But at the same time, there was a part of me that was like, just the whole average, like, judgmental, cliche-ish kind of thoughts. But I really have learned that those will limit me in anything that I do. If I, it's okay to have them because that's natural and that's kind of the environment we've lived in and grew up in and been taught. But we have to push past them. And if we don't push past them, we're not going to learn what we could learn about people, what we could learn about ourselves, what we could learn about this world, and the kindness that we'd see in it. If we don't go past those boundaries, we're going to believe that this world's a horrible place. And yes, the behaviors of people and the condition of this world and the presidential candidates, they all seem a hot mess, but the people are what make this world. It's the individual people that make this world what it is. And if we can start changing the individual people and start changing their mindsets and start changing the way that they look at things, that's the whole objective, to change the world. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to share that, and just I wanted to say to whoever was out there and whoever does see this video, because I'm not sure, who will actually see it, but I'm hoping and I believe that it will be a lot of people. But if you're out there and you think that you're not worth anything and you think that you don't matter, you do. Every person that you meet, every person that you talk to, every person that you encourage with your story, the same hurt that you've had, somebody else has had, the same, crappy life you've had, somebody else has had, like the same addiction, the same molestation, the same rape, the same murder within their family, the same death within their family, the same child lost. It goes on and on and on. This world is drastically, painful. But I think that if we often embrace the pain that we felt and we use it to help others along their own painful journey, and realize that it's through our vulnerability that we're able to be strong. Because when I'm vulnerable with you, like I'm being right now, you're able to see that and you're able to say, oh, you know what? She looks this kind of way and she speaks this kind of way and she holds herself with this kind of confidence. But in all, I'm just as vulnerable and as broken and just as much in a struggle as you are, and my objective is to help those along to know that they're not in it by themselves and you're not in it by yourself. There's another person. If you just speak out and you just say, or you just ask the things that you are afraid to ask, you'll find somebody and their heart will be open and they'll be willing to help you along, So don't think you're not worth anything, because you're worth the world. That's why you're in it, because you're worth the entire world. And only you can change the world. Only you can. Because the people that you impact, the people that you talk to, the people that you touch, they need you, because you're the only one that can touch them. You're the only one that can reach the people who are around you, because you're the only one that reaches your own circle. And that comes true for everybody. We need you. And so if you're thinking anything outside of being here tomorrow, if you're thinking it's not worth another day, no, it is worth it. Because your story's not done. It's not finished. It's not written yet. Today's just today. And your worth is so far beyond this moment. I hope you guys have a good evening and enjoy.